Hi and welcome to Stories and Stuff. Today I'm going to show you how I introduce my marking symbols to the children and so they understand what they need to do, how they respond to them. First of all, I will model a piece of writing on my English book and I'll show them how to stick their walt in first. And then I will show them a piece of writing with some errors and some of my marking symbols in the margin. So this is a piece of writing. I have a dog, his name is Tom, he is black, white. In the margin, I've used some of those marking symbols. So the children learn that SP is what I put in my margin when I want them to check their spelling. Now to start with, early on in the year I could circle the one that's misspelled, so in this case I could circle that. But as the year goes on, I really want them to start looking for that error and correcting it themselves. The C in a circle shows that I want them to check for capital letters. Usually it means there's one missing, but it can be that they've used one in the wrong place. I always put that at the start of the line because I want them to find that error themselves. They should be fairly secure with that at the end of year one. And if I put a C in a circle here, there's no learning anywhere. They're just seeing the symbol and they're changing that letter to a capital. On the next line, I've got a symbol for the capital. That's not for the start of a sentence this time. This is actually for the name. And then the question mark means something doesn't quite make sense. What's important about this is we go through and we find those errors together and I model how to sort them out with a green pen. In this case I've circled the error, so we would talk about what's wrong with it. If the children don't know, I will definitely make a mental note to do some practice on it, but I will also get my common exception word card and model how to find it on there. So I make a correction there. If it's just a case of adding a letter on the end, I just add it on. If there was an error in the middle, I would probably use a ruler to cross it out and model the whole word again. I've responded to the spelling, now I need to check the capital, and I would talk to the children, hopefully they'll point that out, and we'll talk about why we need a capital letter. We've got a full stop to mark the end of a sentence or an idea. We're now starting a new sentence or idea, so we need a capital letter. And I would just go over that one. On the next line, we could talk about what the error is again here. It's not going to be the start of a sentence, or when are the other times we need capital letters, and then maybe check for names. I'd correct that just by going over that again. And then the question shows that something in there doesn't make sense when I've read their writing. So we would read that carefully. And again, it's about reading what's actually on the page, not what you think you've written. He is black, white. We talk about how to sort that out, and I would add that word in on that spare line in my books. That's why we write on every other line, so we've got room to make those corrections. And again, I would do that with my green pen. Now before we finish, we have to read all of that back and check that now makes sense. It's really important to keep modelling that in your writing. I have a dog, his name is Tom, he is black and white. So now that's sorted, the children have something to go and check themselves. I won't give them the same piece of writing when they do their own in books, because they might just copy on the board and it doesn't necessarily show me that they've learnt how to respond to those symbols. So on this one that goes in the books, it says, on Sunday I went to the park with my mum, we went on the swing slide, and you can see there's a spelling error with went, the capital missing at the start of this sentence, and there should be an and in there. You might decide not to introduce lots of different marking codes all at once. You could just work on capital letters to start with. I always revise those at the beginning of year 2 anyway, and then you might do spelling at another time, and you might do the checking for sense. But those are 3 really important ones that I want children to be really aware of when they're writing, and I will do lots of modelling when we're doing our shared writing. So they would stick that in their English book, get their green pen and respond to those symbols that I've used. So we've done one together, they will do it in books, and then we'll come back together and I will have written that up on the board and we'll go through it together. Now, as the year goes on, I won't necessarily write those in the right place in the margin anymore. I might write these things at the bottom. And they know somewhere in that text is a capital in the wrong place or missing, and that there's something in there that doesn't quite make sense. And they have to go back then and reread that and respond to my marking. Each school has their own marking code, so it might not necessarily match what I've done, but I'm just showing you how I introduce those to the children and we start responding to those together to start with. I hope that's been useful. If you liked it, click like below and subscribe for more ideas soon.